So good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us for the AMAN's Accessibility Lunch and Learn today on the Provincial Business Accessibility Grant Program. I'm Julie Glazer, the manager for the Accessibility, Equity, and Anti-Racism Program for the Association of Municipal Administrators of Nova Scotia. This program is funded by the Province of Nova Scotia's Department of Justice to help meet the province's accessibility goals by 2030 with support to municipalities through training, education, tools, and resources. I'm delighted to welcome to today's Lunch and Learn Paul Tingley, the Program Officer for Business and Community Accessibility Grants through the Province of Nova Scotia's Community, Culture, Tourism, and Heritage Department. Some of you may know Paul from his previous work as a recreation consultant for provincial recreation organizations, where he focused on making Nova Scotia more inclusive by identifying, preventing, and removing barriers in recreation. Paul is also a seasoned and medaled sailor, having competed in 5 Paralympic Games, taking home gold and bronze. He was recognized as Sail Canada's Sailor of the Year in 2008, Open World Champion in 2010 against sailors of all abilities, and was inducted into Nova Scotia's Sport Hall of Fame in 2022. When not on water, Paul can also be found on ice, playing sledge hockey. Paul joins us today to help demystify the process of applying for the provincial accessibility grants for businesses, helping municipalities to support local businesses to address barriers in the built environment that prevent accessibility and inclusion for both their staff and their customers. So I'm very pleased to welcome Paul here today.
Thank you, Julie. It's great to be here. Thanks everyone for showing up. Are we going right into it, or are we going to
We can go right into it. If you want, would you like to do a round of intros just to see who's in the room?
It's up to you.
Sure, I'd love to hear who's in the room and let us know what municipality you're in, and if you are with a business, that would be great. So why don't we start with Ian Porter?
Hi, I'm Ian Porter. We have 8 wonderful suites that we Airbnb under the banner of Hotel Wolfhill. Hotel Wolfhill is just a couple of weeks old as far as branding goes, but we took our first guest back in October of 2020. And our reviews are the envy of many because we've done a fabulous job on the property. Our smallest suite is a little over 700 square feet. The largest is over 1,200 square feet. So that's kind of where we're at.
Great. Thanks, Ian. Allison Martel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allison Martel. I work with the Village of St. Peters. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Paul a few weeks ago. We were trying to get funding for one of our projects for the community hub that we're going to kind of put on the back burner till next year. But yeah, so it was nice to meet Paul then, and it was nice to see you face to face. So
great, awesome. Christine Spur.
Hello, I'm Christine. I'm the business development analyst for the municipality of the County of Kings.
Great, thanks. Claire Screen.
Hi there. I work in the leasing department of corporate accommodations, real estate. I have just been with the municipality since September last year, so I'm still quite new. I probably haven't met anybody on the call at the moment. But
which municipality?
Sorry, Halifax Regional Municipality.
Great. Thanks for joining us, Claire. Oh, sorry, Christine. No, Claire. Sorry. I'm going back and forth here. Claire. Corey Cadeau. So many C's today. Corey.
Yeah. So name's Corey Cadeau. I work for our family business here, Wade Enterprises. And we have some commercial properties throughout the valley and some retail stores as well. So yeah, very curious to kind of learn about making our spaces more accessible, given a lot of them are older buildings. So when we do a retrofit, we want to make sure that we're doing it the right way and seeing what programs are out there. So thank you.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, Corey. Danny Jackson.
Oh, I think you're on mute, Danny. Sorry.
Hi, I'm a capital projects and asset manager for the municipality of the District of Yarmouth. and we are currently going through 2 accessibility upgrades for both the administration building and our Rotary Centre.
Great. Thanks, Danny. Ellen Johnson.
Hi, I'm Ellen Johnson. I'm the Regional Accessibility Coordinator for the municipalities in Lunenburg County. And nice to see you, Paul.
Thanks, Ellen. Jack Kite.
I'm the Executive Director of the Pictou County Chamber of Commerce. I'm here today to learn and just to say there's a need for improved communications to business around what's going on, what the goals are, how we can get ready for change.
Wonderful. Thank you. Lindsay Corey.
Hi everyone, I'm Lindsay. I'm community developer of public art for Halifax Regional Municipality, but I also run a grant program for professional arts organizations, many of which own their buildings or are looking to own their buildings or leasing their buildings, and a lot of them are very interested in this grant, so I wanted to come learn more.
Awesome. Mallory Klooster.
Hi, I'm Mallory. I am the Manager of Community Wellbeing with the Town of Amherst.
Wonderful. Thanks. Mark Flint.
Hi, folks. I'm the Deputy CEO with the Town of Bridgewater, and Ellen has been teaching me about accessibility considerations for planning.
Amazing. Megan Hayter.
Hi, my name is Megan Hayter. I'm the clerk of the Village of St. Peters, and I'm very interested to hear what programs are out there for funding. We have quite a few accessibility upgrades that we need to make.
Great. Nice to see you, Megan. Mark Flint. Oh, sorry, I just did Mark. Michelle back on.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm the Accessibility Coordinator for the Municipality of Shelburne, the Town of Shelburne, and the Town of Lockport.
Great. Nice to see you, as always, Michelle.
You too.
Ryan Oxner.
Hello, everyone. I work at L'Arche Home Fires in Wolfville. We're an organization that provides day programming, work, and housing for individuals with intellectual disabilities in the Annapolis Valley. And I just heard about this Zoom meeting about an hour ago from my executive director. So jumping in, seeing how it may apply to our homes. And we also operate a small retail business here in Wolfville called Apple Wicks, where we sell some of our handmade products.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ryan. Tammy Bezanson. Tammy may be muted. I'll go to Tammy Feltmate.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tammy Feltmate. I'm the Director of Sustainable Communities and the Accessibility Lead for the Municipality of the County of Antigonish.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us, Tammy. Okay, Paul, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. It's good to have a good representation across the province here and different reasons for being here. So as a presenter, it'll be hard to appease everybody, but I will do my best. So my name is Paul Tingley. I am the Accessibility Officer with Community Cultures, Tourism and Heritage. And as I start talking, I should bring this up and share the screen. Now, can you see the presentation by any chance?
We can. You just have to now go back to your presenter view.
Is that better?
Still the same.
Still the same. Oh,
yeah.
dear.
Yeah, this is it was, I think, along the
Oops. Is that better?
Still the same view.
Yeah.
I know. What did we do the last time?
I'm not sure. Nothing. All the same.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there we
Okay.
go. Yep, you're
Oh,
in.
really? Okay. So I can't see anyone anymore, but that's okay.
Oh, I don't know. Is this supposed to be of Citadel Hill? Oh, no, it's a slideshow. I think we've got your you have to go back to
Oh,
your PowerPoint.
all right, sure.
I think we've got your screensaver.
Nice. It's a good screensaver though. I'm
It's a
quite
great
proud of it there.
screensaver. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thanks. All
Great
right,
Nova
let's
Scotia.
Yeah,
Good,
very Nova
good.
Scotian. Yeah.
the best parts of it. Okay, so we're back here. Sorry everybody about this. Go with that one. And then we'll go. I have no idea if you can see it now or not.
We can still see your notes and the thumbnails on the left-hand side, but that's okay. You can go.
Hi,
I'll
it's
just-
Tammy from Antigonish
Yes.
County. I know we had a problem this week with Zoom with a presentation, and the only way we could get to see the entire thing or have it advance as the presentation went on was by opening it as a PDF. I don't know if that was just us or if that's
Oh, really? A PDM?
yeah, it was really
PD.
random.
I
It was
don't
at our
even know what
council
that
meeting.
is.
Otherwise, it would only stay on the front page or like this in presentation mode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not suggesting you try that. If you have somebody else, I'm not the tech person to ask.
No,
It's just
thanks
that we
for
just ran
sharing.
into a similar problem.
So I'm okay if you can see the next slide. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah,
If you,
that's fine. Yeah.
So like right now, I think I can advance it. Can you see that? And I can go back. Is that where we are or?
I think you have to put your cursor over slide number 1 in the thumbnail and then go to slide number 2. See if that works.
I don't even know. Yeah, this
There
one
you go.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Try
okay,
that.
so you're looking
Yeah.
at, I have 3 monitors, like it's too much. So I'm managing. Okay, let's start this thing here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, we have the information here is the business and community. We give out $1 million for each program. We have a deadline, February 14th, just passed. So we're still scoring those right now. And the next one will be February 14th, 2025. So paul.tingley@novascotia.ca is my email. There's the phone number. And these are the generic emails for SB, that's like small business access at novascotia.ca, which I think is the general theme of this call. So we'll just kind of center on that. If you want to find it online, my best advice would be to Google CCTH Investing in Our Future. And that will come up with 76 of the programs that we do in this department. And then you find the business accessibility and the guidelines and the application form and all the information is there. So moving right into it, we have our Accessibility Act to be implemented. 2030 is a ways away, but we are doing our best to get there as soon as we can and prepare for it. So, so this whole program is kind of about Nova Scotia's commitment to an accessible province. So they have all the standards and policies, but a lot of it will be costs for businesses and communities to do upgrades. And the province has offered this program where we give 2/3 of that accessible expense if you're awarded. So a little bit about the Access by Design 2030. We have 6 standards of which to advance accessibility in this province. And if you go to novascotia.ca/accessibility, you'll find so many resources. And if you want to go down that road, but for a lot of businesses or just people wondering what's happening, they're wondering like how accessible is their place of business. So I would suggest there's interim accessibility guidelines for the indoor and outdoor spaces right now is kind of, it's got pictures, it goes through your business from the entrance to hallways, bathrooms, parking, lighting, and it kind of gets, it's something you can print off, put on a clipboard with a pencil, go around your business. And that's a good starting point for you to start looking, trying to develop some ideas, because most businesses will list all their barriers and then they'll start to prioritize the big ones as people use them, maybe the cost. So that's kind of like a good starting point to get you thinking about your barriers. All right, so now the next slide here are the two programs. There's the business and the community, and those are the deadlines. And this is really the whole objective is to improve accessibility. So everyone, we realize, is in different parts of the journey. Some are just learning, where others are more sophisticated and they're getting into the finer points. So we want to meet everyone where they're at. Let me go. And I just want to say that accessibility is more than just ramps. It is a large part of our program, but there's so many more things, more considerations than just wheelchair barriers. We have lots of other disabilities, invisible disabilities. There's a lot of accommodations that we do, and our program considers all those just as important as the wheelchair accessibility. So barriers to accessibility, this is kind of looking at it from a business's point of view. So costs is the number one. And then there's the lack of the funding in the programs, and then also the time to fill out these forms and apply for the money. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here with the program is help you with the cost and give you that opportunity to get 66% of the expense. And we try to make the application process pretty simple. So we'll go into the business accessibility program now, and we have 5 categories which you can apply for. And the first one is the built environment, and I'd say 85% of our projects are for this, or probably 90%. And we have entrances, pathways, and bathrooms are the big ones. And you can imagine it's just nonstop and things wear out, the wood and the ramp. So this is kind of nonstop. And we'll get, after I kind of go through this business program, we'll go into the proper tips on how to write the application. So we'll get to that. But I just want to do an overview of the 5 categories. The next one is accessibility communication services. So we're talking about signage, the way ensures that customers, clients, and employees can access all the information. And we also have a visual fire alarm in there. That's more of a built environment thing, but thought we'd throw it in there as well. Assisted devices are for people that might need some added supports and aids. It can be hearing aids as well. We can do like lifts for people to get out of their wheelchairs into something else, if they're on wheels and that kind of thing. We have accessible transportation. And the last category would be our universal design capacity building. So this one is more about training across the board. So this is Sea Change Collab. They're the accessibility confident employers. So really they get money to, if you're an employer and you're wondering how to educate your staff on being more aware of the needs and how to interact with people, then they give out free courses for that. And then hopefully these programs will help alleviate those earlier barriers. So if we get funding through grants and an easier application process, that's preferred. This is the research done. And your economic benefits for the businesses is that you're going to really increase your patronage from a wide market. And for me, that is the best way to do it. It's any accessibility improvement usually improves it for all. So it can be a really good way to just improve your business for everybody and also making it accessible for those with barriers. Reduce costs from preventing injuries and also just the better quality and design. So those are good reasons. I have other reasons here, like why do you want to be accessible? So really the greater opportunity to have more customers, more profit. It's the right thing to do. We all know that. It's going to be legislation. That's where a lot of people come with questions or like, do I have to do this? Like, I know it's not accessible now. Do I have to change this? So there's a lot of questions in that area because at 2030, it's not going to be like a switch and everything's going to be accessible. Things that were kind of like inaccessible now are kind of, they can stay that way, like depending on the type of business. But if you have a new build or a major construction where it's affecting 75% or more of the business, then you have to adhere to those new guidelines. And this is all tied in with the business or the building code as well. So it could give you a little more extra confusion. So there is struggling to be compliant is a thing. So finding the right support is a thing too. So we want to just make sure that as the province and the accessibility directorate kind of gives out all this information, it's not misinformation or that people exaggerate like negative parts of it, which can, you know, sway the people buying in for this. So I have and then the legislation was the reason, and the last one was this is a great opportunity. There's 2/3 of the expense is covered by the province. We plan to do it next year. This is the 7th year we've been doing it. So it's a great opportunity. I don't know. I don't think it will end. I'm hoping that it will actually double and give out $2 million each. But for now, it's just a great opportunity to get this money. So some of the barriers, I know this is, you don't expect it to read all this, but these are just some of the barriers when I looked at the last couple of years of what are projects that have been funded. So it's the whole gamut. So we don't try to, you know, say it's just this we're going to support. We want to support everything that's going to improve your place of business or community gathering to make it more accessible. So. And then we'll throw in a little comedy here. I know you're all on mute, so I can't hear you laughing, but this town ain't accessible enough for the both of us. That's this is Callahan. He's kind of like a Far Side comic book author, but he himself has a disability, so he's kind of got a different twist on it. So anyway, I also put in some community accessibility projects because I wasn't sure who's going to be here. So I'll just kind of go through some of these, but like this is the before and after Glooscap Ventures. Actually, they're a business, sorry. So you can see the stairs here, and it was really sloped parking lot. And after they got the grant, they put in the parking spot, and then I did do a visit, and there's still a little work to be done on this gravel, which I'm sure they've changed. And now you have a place of business that is accessible for all. And it just looks better too. Then we have some pickleballing up in Pictou area, which is very successful. It's good for all, but it's also accessible. Here you can see on the right, they have a playground with the surface there, and that's a wheelchair friendly surface, which is really important. It costs a little bit more, but there are grants as well from like tire stores and things like that to help with that. And they also have a shelter here with a nice cement for everyone to roll on and stand. And they also have the picnic table, which extends out over one end so the wheelchairs can roll under. We have kayak launchers, we have access Moby mats, we have access to the water on a lake, the ocean. You know, we're going pretty fast here, so I hope I'm not going too quick. We have accessible examination tables as well. This one here is a before and after what it can look like. So in the Bridgetown area, they had this washroom that was serving their sports park. Looked pretty bad here, and then they developed it into a universal change or washroom. So after all that, I just wanted to show a picture of maybe the popularity of this. So you can see these are all the current applications that we're scoring. The deadline was just in February, so we have, I think, 160 or something like that. So we have the community is it's kind of all scattered around by region, and the businesses and community are in each. So it's pretty good wide representation. Usually it looks like this every year. You can see the Eastern Shore is a little sparse, but they have had, you know, some over the years, but definitely the Valley is going to be busy when it comes to community. But yeah, it's pretty strong across the board. How are we doing so far, everyone? Julie, we're doing good?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Paul.
Okay, good. All right. So now we'll just kind of go into some tips for submitting a strong application. So so I guess the first thing is to contact the person responsible. So that would be me, and I gave you all that contact information at the beginning. So the best reason there is that if you just go online, if there's changes to the program, it doesn't get uploaded as quick as real time, I guess. So always good to talk to the person. They can tell you kind of if there's anything that's changed. So then that person, myself, would point you to the program guidelines. So where to go on the website. I'm just going to move this over here. So then read the program guidelines. It's not short, but it's not overly long, we hope. But there's due diligence. We have ombudsman. We have auditors that check my work for thoroughness to make sure that the money is being spent on eligible organizations and businesses that will do the good with the money. So there is a bit of a process that we go through, but we try to make it as easy as possible for the business. And also, like talking to myself at the beginning, we're going to quickly find out if you're eligible as a business or a community. We're going to find out if your project is eligible as well. You'll find out how much money you could qualify for. I am not an expert, but I do have my Rick Hansen Foundation training. I have 30 years now almost of lived experience of living in a wheelchair. So I do have like some tips that I can hopefully save you some money if possible, but still maintain quality. And it's for, and that would help your bottom line, I guess. So it's good to contact me, read the program guidelines. You can answer all the questions, look at your supporting documents, review your budget. Then we're going to start early, which is great that this is today, and the next deadline isn't for many months away. So it gives you time to think about, start to do the audit on your place of business, and then like start looking at those barriers, the costs to resolve them, and then maybe start to think about, okay, that's a cost that we can do. This is a major barrier that will make a change. We'll apply for that. So all that can happen. Then we have number 6 is, have people review it. You can always send it back to me. I'll give my feedback so that you can get the best possible application to present your project. There you go. And submit on time. We don't take late ones. So these are a little summary. You're going to ask questions. Everything I kind of said. Yeah, it's just kind of a review of everything. Okay, next joke. Don't worry, he won't get far on foot, says the posse when they see the wheelchair stuck in the desert. Anyway, those are hilarious. I always find funny, but moving on. So we're getting close to the end here. This are just some kind of favorite little slide or different websites or things happening across Nova Scotia that I kind of tune into regularly. And Peach Research Unit is out of Dalhousie, and they're doing a lot of work with the Accessibility Directorate. There's doing a lot of research on communities, navigating barriers. Right now, they're doing kind of a visual, whether it's a little video or just pictures on what the Nova Scotia building code is. So it's can be really hard, or not the building code, the Canadian Standards Association. So it can be really hard to kind of navigate that, but they're working on this visual representation of the same thing. So it's pretty cool. They do a lot of other great stuff around Halifax and the Valley, up in Pictou and Antigonish. So online, I like to go to Bill 59. That is what the Access by Design 2030 is, Bill 59. And this is a group that just kind of is led by the previous accessibility director, Jerry Post. And he's very prolific, and he's always putting in different flavors, different products, different, if someone's doing bad things and parking in parking spots, whatever it is, whether it's parasport and recreation, there's a lot of information that just keeps coming and kind of keeps your mind thinking about it. Also, Nova Scotia Parks and Rec Professionals is pretty active, and that would be more for the community side, I think. Just down to the last 2 slides here. This here is, as a business owner, you can look at this one. I mean, the Nova Scotia Building Code is really wordy. The accessibility stuff is in there about 2/3, 3/4 of the way down, and and that is the ultimate guide for us in Nova Scotia. But also this national standard is a really good guide, and it has pictures, and I just find it's laid out much better. So and it's free. It's a big PDF, and you can look at that as well. So I know that maybe there's some people here as well that has questions and things like that. So I will leave it at that and stop sharing, and we can answer questions or have dialogue.
Great. Thanks very much, Paul. Yeah, so feel free to raise your hand and I'll get to you, or you can post in the chat, or feel free to take yourself off mute and ask Paul any questions that you might have about the program, or, even just in terms of your own site and what it is that you're navigating or thinking about for your business.
I'll start with one question there, Julie, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm, trying to get a bit up to speed in terms of kind of, how to make buildings more accessible, and have some experience with building code. And I guess, Paul, you shed some light on kind of this grant and the differences with, being code kind of minimum and getting up to code versus, what this grant is, I guess, trying to facilitate. I think my understanding was, in terms of current code, obviously anything that is deficient, this grant is outside of that scope. You have to get up to code. This is for, I guess, 2030 and that kind of vision. So I guess, could you provide any clarity around, I guess, the intention of building code and what this program can support? Yeah,
I would say that like new builds and major renovations, there's a lot of accessibility in the building code, and that is, we don't cover that. That's not eligible. But let's say that you just wanted to change the access to your front doorway or something like that, then you don't have to do that like that. You're just doing it to be more accessible, and that's where we're going to kind of come in and give you the 2/3 to do that.
Did that make sense, Corey?
Yep. No,
Yep.
and that was kind of my rough understanding. I just thought, since no one else put their hand up and I wasn't 100%, then I was. So thank you.
Perfect. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Lindsay?
Thanks so much for this, Paul. Is the program really specific to businesses that own their building, or can people that lease or operate out of another building apply?
That's a great question. We have either the business owner can apply, or there's the building owner and they can apply, or the business owner, if they have a lease of 2 years or more, then they can apply as well.
Okay, great. And is this specific for capital investment, or could this go towards programming, accessible programming?
We look at everything really. Like if it's gonna like if it's operational costs, like it's probably not, it's gonna happen. Like it's more capital leaning, I guess. It's better investment, but like we consider everything. So that's where calling and talking and saying this is the idea. I wouldn't say no until I heard it, I guess.
Great. Thanks so much for sharing this. It's really great information.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Lindsay. Megan?
Hi, Paul. So my question is in consideration of our sidewalks. We have about 5 kilometers of sidewalk, and they're aging and have more issues than just not having the like the textured surfaces and things like that. There's larger issues as far as some of them aren't the same width as others, and there's just wear and tear to them over time has made them not a great surface for mobility. So my question is, would this funding be applicable for something like an engineering study for the sidewalks?
So if it's, we have panels, so all applications would go to a panel and they would look at that. But if you're asking about the eligibility of that, yes, that's, you're eligible to apply. That is something that's going to improve accessibility. And so we would accept that, and then we would score it. So we go through this little process and we look at that. So one thing I didn't really mention was when it's like, maybe not sidewalks, but like parking lots, if you want to pave a whole parking lot to make it more accessible, we would look at like the part that was for like the wheelchair parking kind of at the front. Like it's usually like 25-30% of the total cost of the parking lot. So that's like a universal design. So the sidewalk is kind of like that, like it benefits everybody, but if it's not in good shape, it's not going to be possible for walkers and wheelchairs. So that one holds a stronger case that it would be more of an accessible expense. For like the public works and things like that, we don't love going in to give the money to the towns and municipalities, because it would just be gone like in 2 seconds. And hopefully the municipalities can like pay for their own sidewalks. But having said that, we have done curb cuts before. And so we do consider that, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have any other specific questions or comments for Paul? I'll bring up a couple because I have also previously worked with businesses and encouraged folks and helped folks to apply for the Business Accessibility Grant. So I wonder if you can talk a little bit about assisted devices, because that also falls under the grant. And I'm looking at you here, Corey, because you own a mall. And Corey and I actually had a conversation previously about the aging mobility devices that malls often provide. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that, and when it comes like replacing things in their life cycle, or looking at new kind of new devices that are available. What does that look like?
Yeah, I think they can come in many shapes and forms. So I would say that if you have old equipment, definitely it's always being improved over time. So if you want to upgrade it, definitely. The whole point is that it's still a 1/3 is being paid for by the business applying. So they have skin in the game, as they say. So if they think that that's what they need to spend money on, then we're going to support that. So as far as like actual like assisted devices, like what they are, like it's all in the guidelines, but they're calling it here that assisted technology can be any tool, piece of equipment, or technology designed to enable barrier-free participation by persons with disabilities. So there's like emergency evacuation chairs, wheelchairs, screen readers, voice recognition programs. Yeah, and also covers the training for employees to use these devices. So,
and I guess more context on that kind of specific discussion Julie and I had a couple of months back now. It was, I guess we have some scooters in the mall where we try and provide, accessible shopping throughout the center. And given its size, we had a few scooters, and from time to time, those will go down and get damaged, whether it be just due to normal aging or sometimes misuse. But we're just kind of curious, if that could fall within the scope, because yes, we're still looking at making it accessible, to your point, having skin in the game. But I had no idea that kind of fell within the scope of this grant. So it's very intriguing to us because we're always looking at ways to kind of improve our customer experience, and especially those with barriers, because 50-year-old mall, there's some barriers that we're trying to smash down slowly. So it's nice. Very insightful. Thank you.
Great. So Danielle Martel put a question in the chat here. She says, thanks so much, Paul. I was wondering if a business who is successful in securing funding for their phase 1 of their upgrades last fiscal, would they be eligible for this funding for funding for this fiscal for their phase 2 projects?
Yeah. So the question is, they paid for it in the last fiscal, and can they apply for it in this fiscal?
Successful in securing funding for phase 1 of their upgrades last fiscal, and now they have a phase 2, and can they come back for phase 2 projects?
Yeah, so you have to apply for the expense that's happening in that fiscal year. So we wouldn't retroactively pay expenses in the past, even if it was phase 1 of a multi-phase thing. So yeah, you have to apply and then get it in the same year.
Yeah, Danielle?
Sorry, I guess that question was a bit convoluted. And so I just wanted to provide some clarity. So they have started the project. And again, thank you, Paul, for humoring us with all these questions. But yeah, they have started their projects and upgrades. And now they're looking to start additional steps, I guess, and additional upgrades that are different from their initial application. So I guess what they're wondering, what this business is wondering, is if they need to submit a new application and if they're eligible for said funding stream.
Yeah, I think so. Like, without knowing more, you can, like, we've had several businesses that apply year after year. There's no guarantee that they get it, but they've applied for the elevator shaft one year, and then next year they applied for the elevator itself. Like, so, because we only do give 50,000 max in the built environment, so an elevator is going to cost more than that anyway. So that was a good one to do over a couple of years. So hope that answers your question.
Great, thanks, Danielle. Thanks, Paul. Paul, we have a chamber here, and we have some folks from a business development corporation here. I'm wondering if there's ever been, because they would be not-for-profits, I'm wondering if there's ever been an application that's come in from a chamber or a business development group to support the business community as a whole making improvements.
There hasn't, I don't think so. Not to my knowledge. Like, usually it's a business, like, because a chamber is a nonprofit, and would they apply in the business category, but they're a nonprofit? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. So I'm thinking about the town of New Glasgow and how they all, in order to deal with their one-step up problem into businesses, that they put in temporary ramps, which I know are not, they are not compliant ramps, and they are a temporary solution, but they provided those in some sort of program partnership with, I think, John Howard Society, who built them. So I guess I'm just thinking about ways that, businesses could also collectively address some of their built environment concerns, maybe with the program to help support initiatives to make primarily, these smaller downtowns more accessible to everybody with something like that. So just I'm just wondering if you could speak about that.
It was called the Nova Ramp Up project. So that was with the John Howard Society, and it was a great project. It's based off something called the Stopgap Ramp project. It's out of Ontario. It's for single step entrances to businesses in downtown Toronto. There's hundreds or thousands, I'm not sure. And it's gone across North America. I have 2 in my apartment. Like, I taken it to Ski Wentworth and built one there. Like they're brilliant. It's 4 pieces of wood and it will get you like 8 to 12 inches up, like, and it's 6 to 1, not 12 to 1, but it's made out of wood and it's got handles on the side and you can just lift it up and when you're not using it, because it's temporary and it's not like screwed it down. That's why it's allowed to exist, kind of thing. But to get to your point, it's the Universal Design Capacity Building is where that John Howard Society was able to get the funding. So that was kind of before I came in. So like, I would like to think that we are fluid and flexible enough. If it's a good idea, we'll make it happen. And if it's going to help our business owners, for sure. So anything is possible, I'll say.
Okay, great. Thank you. The ones that I saw in New Glasgow, I don't think they had the handle and they weren't wood. It was almost like they were made out of some sort of recycled material and they were colored. Those
So
ones?
they try to improve on the design of the 4 pieces of wood, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it was all well intentioned. They're both great ideas. I guess they're a little bit heavier, the ones John Howard made, because the transition plate at the bottom and the top is more aluminum, I think it is. So it just made it a little bit more bulky, but they both do the same things. You can just lift them up and take them out.
Okay. So that could be, so if John Howard is providing them and they're already out there, so that could be something a chamber or a business development. Oh, it's done. It's over.
Yeah, it didn't really go as smoothly as they wanted to. It happened all during COVID, and then there was a person with a sickness in charge of the whole project. And I think they're just regrouping. They just finished the project 6 months ago, and I think they'll do it again, hopefully. So
okay. Would you like to talk about how the program funding rolls out? So in terms of if somebody's application is submitted, what happens next? And their application is approved, what happens next?
Okay, so a lot of it is already done in the application process. So we want to make sure you get all that information. And then, so we take it February 14th, it goes to panel. It's probably not the best time of year at the end of fiscal year. March 31st is kind of a madhouse here, and we're not scoring or anything. So we have the deadline, but we don't really even start looking at it until like early March. So anyway, we do all the scoring. It goes, there's a lot of checks and balances in the government, and it's about mid-May, hopefully, that will announce the funding, that we send out the terms and conditions of the funding. If they sign it and return it, then it's probably another 3 days before they get money. And then they get usually 100% of that money if it's 25,000 or less. If it's more than that, we give them 80%. And then when they do the final report on the project, then we'll give them the final 20%.
Amazing. That's great. It's great that that much money comes up front to help people move the process forward. That's quite substantial. So that's really good to hear. Thank you. And last year you had a September deadline that popped up. Do you anticipate a September deadline as well, or is it going to just go back to the 1 year deadline?
Yeah, just quickly on that, the businesses are not as in community, we have $1 million, and this year we had $3 million in eligible expenses. So really popular, right? And it's sad that we can't fund all these great projects. But business has been slow to apply. And this year we actually had $970,000 in eligible asks. So I think this is the first time that we were able to fill the whole $1 million in the first go. But in the previous years, we had that second call out because we just had to still, get the $1 million out to businesses. And I should say that last year when we did that second call, we had about $450,000 to spend. There was about $800,000 that came in the asks, and we funded them all anyway. So
amazing. So this is good news for businesses. Get your applications in.
We have funded all the applications and businesses for the last couple of years. So it's an incredible opportunity. It really is.
That's really great. That's amazing. Any other questions for Paul? Anybody have any specific projects that they are thinking about? Lindsay raised his hand again. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if you could talk just a little bit about, are there any reporting requirements after you get a grant?
Yeah, so we do, like, quality control is a big part of this as well. And what we do is, like, there's site visits done by myself, but it's that final report, and it's a template, and take a picture, show your expenses, 6 questions. Maybe you can say, wow, we have a lot more people coming through the door, or just people love it. They feel good that it's inclusive for all, that kind of stuff. So that's really all the reporting there is.
Cool, thanks.
Great. Thanks, Lindsay. Anybody else have any specific questions for Paul on a project that they're thinking about, or areas of their business that they're wondering if would be applicable for program support? Ellen Johnson?
Hi, this isn't a specific question, but I'm wondering, you talked about, Paul, about using, that the building code is our, that's the minimum, and that it's, with the new version of the building code that's coming out, it's going to be, better than it was for accessibility. But you mentioned the CSA B651, and I'm wondering, does that, you're mentioning it here in this presentation, does that come up when you're having those conversations with the business owners before they apply? And I'm just asking because, I've encountered in the past, businesses that have done a renovation and then they realize, oh, I followed building code, but that doesn't actually meet the needs of, like, this whole chunk of the population of persons with disabilities. It's not always enough. So I'm wondering how much that's encouraged from you at the beginning point before, as the business is deciding on what it's going to do.
Yeah, I kind of present it as an option that it's both the Nova Scotia, like, always preface that I'm not the expert, but the people are looking for answers here. So I try to, so the building code, Nova Scotia, is wordy, and it's just it loses people, like, when they read it. And so the CSA is a lot easier to read with the pictures and the way it's kind of laid out. And those are starting points, I guess. And then as you go through it, it might kind of give you more ideas about other barriers in your place of business. And, like, just scrolling through it, it's got, like, at the start of every new category, it's got the picture of the barrier that it's trying to, like, serve. So really, it's just a resource for people to kind of get on. I don't know all the ins and outs of the, like, if we were all to meet the Canadian Standards Association version of accessibility, I think that'd be great. Yeah, so that's why I'm okay to suggest that, knowing that the Nova Scotia Building Code is the final. So
yeah, and I guess I say that because, the CSA does tend to be at least the Nova Scotia Building Code, but often exceeds it. And I don't know if everyone built to that standard. If you're a business owner and you're like, what do I do? If you can build to that standard, then I think we're going to end up with much more, usable and meaningful accessible spaces. So I'm just wondering, like, how do we get that out there as a really solid option for people? So thank you.
Yeah. And just on that, the Nova Scotia Building Code is coming out with a major, everyone maybe knows about this already. So we're waiting on that new building code to come out, because it's going to have accessibility enhancements, I guess, to it. And it's kind of, the accessibility directorate is coming out with their own guidelines on the built environment as well. So they want the building code to come out before the directorate kind of releases theirs, I think, if I have it right. But anyway, we'll wait and see when it comes out. Thanks for the question.
Great. Thanks, Paul. Any other questions? Don't be shy. Couple more minutes with Paul. And then otherwise, you know how to reach him with his information. Hearing none, I would just like to thank you all for coming today to hear about this opportunity with the Business Accessibility Grant, and to Paul for sharing the information with folks and taking questions today. I really appreciate it, Paul. This will be recorded and posted into the platform that I'm working on with the municipal leads with all the municipalities. So it will be able to be accessed there and shared with your business development folks. Yeah, so thanks very much, Paul. Next Friday's Lunch and Learn, April 26th, is going to follow up with part 2 of accessible wayfinding and signage learning with Allison Maas of Eye Candy Signs. And for those of you who plan on coming and would like to submit examples for the Lunch and Learn, again, you can send them on to me, jglaser, JGLASER, at amans.ca, and I will get those on to Allison. So some nice comments coming in the chat here, Paul, with gratitude. And again, yeah, my gratitude to you for coming and sharing the opportunity with us. And let's hope we see a lot of applications coming forth.
Thank you so much. And I might tune in next Friday for that.
Yeah.
Candy sign. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Feel free.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.